If you are someone who is coming out later in life, then you're in the right place. Stick around. Welcome to my channel. My name is Annie Henderson. I'm a life coach in North Texas. My background is in counseling, school counseling, professional counseling. I was a first grade teacher. The algorithm might have brought you here if you struggle with people pleasing, if you struggle with boundaries. I know a lot of times when people come out, they have fears around how their family will react, their friends, their church. So if that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. One thing I love about being a coach versus when I was a therapist is my ability to connect and help people around the world, around the US, right? You're not limited because I know I am in a more conservative small town in North Texas. So I understand the feeling of being in a bubble and maybe not having access to the right mental health provider for you that understands and gets you. So I hope that you find a safe space here. Some of you might know me from TikTok, Annie M. Henderson over there as well. And I go live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Central. So come and join us and have some back and forth interaction with me and that amazing group. But if you are new here, welcome. I know it can be scary. I am currently 12 years into my relationship with my partner, Sam. But if you rewind, let me tell you a little bit about my story and my journey so you can see if you can relate in any way. And definitely feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. Let me know where you are on your journey, because I know my clients, there's a vast difference in someone realizing and having this awakening and going, what is happening to me, versus I've broken up, I'm out of a compulsory heterosexuality relationship. I'm living with my partner, right? I'm thriving. I'm using tools. I don't people please as much. So there can be a huge range. So feel free to introduce yourself and connect. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. So I have been a lifelong people pleaser. And if you're not familiar with that language, I struggle to say no to others, right? Always about putting others first. What is it that you want to eat? Where do you want to go? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to feel? And that started with, my family of origin. It also started with dating in high school. And eventually I was dating my boyfriend and he proposed. And when it comes to representation, there was none. There was none, unless you count the talk show hosts like Jerry Springer or anything where it was very controversial. It was very Bible verses, screaming matches, just people being disowned, the worst that you can see in that fragile state of growth and exploring and figuring out who you were. So it wasn't even a thing. So compet was very real, and especially mixed with people pleasing. That's a dangerous combination. So I actually got married at 19. And looking back, I'm like, whoa, what was I thinking? I was raised Catholic. I got married into a Pentecostal church. And we got along, right? If you're an excellent people pleaser, right, you're very agreeable. You would go along with others. You avoid conflict, right? You try to smooth things over. You over apologize. You over function for others in your family and in your relationships. So although we didn't fight, which in my head was a win, right? I came from a family where there was a lot of fighting. And I remember it in my middle school age going, they need to go ahead and get a divorce. This isn't healthy. So I was thinking, all right, I think I'm doing this right. I was excellent at checking the boxes. I got married. Check. That's what I'm supposed to do. I finished up high school, got my first college degree. Check. Did it. We bought a house. We sold that one. We built a new house. I went to grad school, just checking boxes left and right. We built a house. We had a baby. Check, check, check. I had my career. I was going to more grad school. Was I winning? Because it really felt like it in terms of what other people expected of me. And that was a huge difference. I did not know myself. I was going by someone else's playbook. Can you relate to that? A lot of times, and I don't have the book with me, but I have this card deck. And it's not focusing right now, but it is the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I highly recommend that you hit pause, go order this, not this version. This can be after you've already read the book once or twice, but read it again. Don't rush through. Amazing insight on us being domesticated from a young child and taught how to do things and what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad, what's for girls and what's for boys. So we're trained in this people-pleasing manner sometimes. And that was me. So when my catalyst came along, blew my mind. I just thought we were really great friends. And looking back, I definitely had some crushes that I was unaware of and just did not connect the dots, even for myself. So in going forward, meeting this catalyst, realizing, right, instead of a midlife crisis where we think everything's falling apart, what am I doing? What's wrong with me? Who am I? Instead of seeing it as a midlife crisis, which I'm sure I did in the moment, as a coach, I see it as an awakening, right? You're starting to realize who you are and that side of you that you've shoved down feelings, you've shoved down thoughts, maybe even moments of realization, so that you can toe the line and be the good girl that you're supposed to be, right? How many of you should all over yourself? You tell yourself things that you should do to make others happy. That was me. So this realization was a big struggle, big confusion, right? I was very torn in terms of religion and what that meant. And okay, from how I was raised, what I was told from authority figures, instant ticket to hell, which is not true. And if this is a struggle for you, definitely come join one of my free groups for LGBTQIA and allies that I actually started with my pastor, my affirming pastor at my church. So if you have questions, if you're struggling with this and don't want to hear me preaching to the choir, but want to ask questions from someone who encourages question asking, right? Sometimes we get in a place where it's don't ask questions. It's not okay. Follow this path. So if that's for you, come and join us. And be around people. Sometimes community is very important. Like I said, if you're in that small bubble, it's important to be around a safe place and others like you that get you and understand and want the best for you, even if it's not the direction that they think is best for you. So I really had to wrestle with the religious aspect of it. And although I am still doing some deconstructing of my own when it comes to religion, this is a book that I read every Monday through Friday on TikTok. And nope, it's not blurred out. Hey God, Hey John. Incredible book. Great for healing and realizing that even if I step away from this organized religion, God is still with me. I don't have to choose one or the other. And that's for another another YouTube. Let me know in the comments if you want me to talk more about this, or if you need that link over to that group. I would love to connect with you. So that was the biggest aha. After praying for change and clarity and everything, right? If you fast forward to my life now, even though I am out and proud and I help people, and this is who I coach, people that are coming out later in life to let go of people pleasing and boundaries. I have an even better relationship with God, right? I see things differently. It comes from a place of being less judgmental, more peace and neutrality, and it makes a huge difference. So, coming to grips with that. Now, here's what happened to me in my coming out journey. I got divorced. I was in my relationship with my catalyst 3 to 4 years. It was toxic. I won't say that she was toxic, because I also take responsibility. It was a toxic relationship. And what I realized was coming out did not solve all my problems. It was a huge aha. It let me start this path to growth, but I was still a people pleaser. And guess what? People pleasing will affect all areas of your life. It will affect relationships with your family of origin, your friendships, how you show up to work, how you approach new relationships. So realize that was a huge aha for me. And if you can grasp that and realize that, yes, this is one thing, but taking my thoughts and fears and behaviors out of the closet, I'm still going to have them with me. So it's a 2-step process, right? We're never done growing. Even coaches and therapists have coaches and therapists to work with. But don't let that scare you, right? The time is going to pass anyway. You might as well lay this foundation for a wildly beautiful and healthier life, because you're going to be stuck with yourself forever. It also makes you a better parent. So for those parents out there, my kiddo was 1 when we got divorced. She was 4 when I met my partner, and now she is 16 and just the healthiest human, one of the healthiest humans that I know. So incredibly proud of her. So for those parents out there, use your kids as even more incentive to do this work, because they will benefit from the living and getting to experience the happier version of their parent. For those of you who are wanting to take that next step, I do have one-on-one consultation calls. If you go to my site, AMh&x.com, you can sign up for one so we can talk privately and you can share more details and what you want out of life. And there's my pup. So what happened after this toxic relationship ended in a blaze of glory? Just kidding. It was a dumpster fire. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned about my lack of boundaries. I learned what will happen. And here was the confusing piece to it all. So going from my family of origin and to my non-fighting relationship with my husband, right? It was a step up where I was like, look at me. I'm not fighting. I'm doing a great job. And then the catalyst was a little bump up, even though it was toxic and lots of fighting and lots of roller coaster. I know some of you know what I mean when I say a roller coaster relationship. But because it was with a woman, then in my mind, right, it was me getting to be more of my authentic self. It was a bump up. So I took a year or so to figure out who I was, what I liked, hang out with friends, get to be an adult on my own, parent the way that I knew best as an educator, as a school counselor, as a therapist, and just really invest time in myself and my child. And then guess what? At that point, once I have done some healing and some growth, I then met my partner. And we have been together for 12 years. And here's what I want to point out. This was my catalyst, and I kept doing these incremental bump ups, which was nice. It was something. My partner is way up here. The difference is drastic. I went from unhealthy to healthy. This is year 12. We never lost that honeymoon period. We laugh every day. We have physical touch and hugs and kisses and all the things. We know each other's love language very well, which I know can be debatable, but it's a tool. And I'm all about tools and strategies to help us understand one another. So all of that to say that has been part of my journey. And I want to encourage you, right? If you're still on this other side full of fear and doubt and guilt, the guilt. I get it. I remember being there. I want you to know, I wanted you to hear a little bit of what's on the other side, right? Even though my mom was so fearful and scared, now we're in a place where she adores my partner, right? We have dinners together, things are going well. But in the beginning, so fearful, so scared, worried about what everyone else thought. And the key is, don't let other people pile their fears and their unhealthy ways and their trauma and old wounds. Don't let them add that on top of your own. So that's why I recommend getting a coach, finding a community to grow and stretch with when you're in this fragile, delicate part of your journey. So let me know in the comments what your story is. Feel free to introduce yourself. Join us on TikTok or over on Facebook, also Annie M. Henderson. I'll share there daily. I'm so glad you're here. Know that you are not alone, whether you're a teenager or you're in your 60s or anywhere in between. This is who you are, and you don't have to have it all figured out yet. That's okay. Join me next week. Go ahead, share and subscribe, and I will see you again next Monday right here.